My name is Rosalind, 73 and a half years old. I'm from Brooklyn, New York. I volunteer with SHARE, I volunteer at my church, I volunteer anywhere that I'm needed. Basically, I love my grown adult children and my grandchildren, and I'm just a people person. I know that's, people say that, but I am. For fun, I love to travel. I think one of my most interesting places was going to Senegal, and I was able to go to the window of the last return, which is the last window that slaves saw before they left for the Americas. And I absolutely love Venice, Rome, and Paris. I was diagnosed at 62. I had unusual bleeding. I was on vacation with my then husband, and I took a shower and blood just flowed. And I called him in and I said, "What the heck is going on?" He said, "Is that usual?" And I said, "No, it was like a little red river." So we were on vacation. As soon as we got back from the airport, we went straight to the VA hospital in downtown Brooklyn. So we went upstairs and he did a pap smear. Pap smear was negative. You're perfect. And he said, "But you're kind of old to be bleeding like that." So he said, "I'm going to do a biopsy." He scheduled it, but they lost the paperwork and he was in Israel. So I was kind of on the point, and they found the paperwork when he got back and they did the biopsy. He called me. I had an appointment on November 2nd, 2009. When I got there, he asked me, was my husband with me? And I said, no. And he said, "Is anybody with you?" And I said, "My daughter." He said, "Have your daughter come in." So we sat down and he said, "I have good news and bad news. Which one would you want to hear?" I said, "Give me the bad news first." He said, "You have uterine cancer," which I wasn't even familiar with it. And then I said, "Well, what could be the good news?" He said, "You're in the beginning stages, like 1A. Then he said to me that he was a gynecologist, but he was not an oncologist, and he would send me to the best person he knew of. So he sent me to a doctor that was responsible for bringing robotic surgery to NYU. So I was diagnosed November 2nd, 2009, and I had my surgery, complete hysterectomy, the 23rd of November, 2009. So it took exactly 3 weeks to have all my numbers transferred, and it was just a total blessing. They said I probably would never need radiation or chemo. But when I went back and the pathologist went through the lymph nodes, they found out it was a very aggressive cancer and that I would need chemo. So I had 3 rounds of chemo, 3 weeks apart. I lost all my hair. I gained neuropathy from the surgery, but I gained my life. Well, because I really only lived with it for 3 weeks, and I'm a very prayerful person, and I'm a positive person, and there's a lot of fear. It's called cancer paranoia. So it was a lot of fear, but I think I was really calm because of my attitude and because I just kept on going. And I just thought, I never thought death. I don't know why. So it was a little weird, but everything happened so fast. I think mostly after cancer, when I was taking chemo, I was more dreadful then. But I think one of the things about healing through cancer is your attitude and your perspective of what you're going through. And I just believed that I was going to make it. I had a lot of support from my children and my one best friend at the time. Surprisingly enough, a lot of people shunned me. A lot of people went out of my life. I have a rocky relationship with my mother anyway. They did not support me at all. In fact, my sisters told me not to tell anybody I had cancer because they didn't want people to know, although my head was bald. I think people's idea or perception of cancer is like years ago with leprosy or AIDS, that, you didn't do anything to deserve cancer, and people believe that you did something wrong, that's why you have cancer. And I really didn't have a lot of support, and maybe that's why I petitioned my church to start a cancer ministry, which I'm the chairperson of, because people need support. It's not leprosy, and even if it was leprosy, everybody needs support. So my goal was to help other people, and maybe that was the blessing in my life because I did not have support. People shunned me. I had a friend that I had for 30 years. She totally dropped me. And it was contagious. But it wasn't only me. I've learned by going to conferences that a lot of people lose friends when they get cancer. A lot of people don't know what to say to you, so they don't say anything at all. I've had people call me and say, "Oh, my friend has cancer." But I stopped calling her because I don't know what to say. And I'm like, just call, hello, how you doing? And listen, you know. So I did not have a lot of support. And maybe that's why I'm so into supporting others. First of all, I found purpose. You know, when I was little, I used to wonder, because I had a rocky childhood, why was I alive? You know, what was my purpose? Why was I here? And at 66, or whatever, 60 I was, I found purpose. I found the reason why I was living. And it felt good. So it really changed my life. I felt empowered. I felt almost universal because I could do things, you know, for other people that wasn't done for me. And it felt great. And I know it's crazy, and I wrote it in my book, but no one thinks they're going to get cancer to change their life for the better. That you can reach people and help them. It's really wonderful when you go to a hospice, or you go to someone's house, or you speak to someone on the phone that lives in Aruba, and they tell you, thank you, you've helped me. Or someone read your book, and they said, you know, I understand cancer. Or a caretaker read the book and said to me, I understand my sister's journey more now. So it's empowering, you know, it's empowering. And it puts you in a special place. To me, cancer changed my life. Cancer can either kill you mentally or encourage you mentally. Some people let it kill them, and I think your attitude has a lot to do with your progress. And a lot of people, they shut down, and you can tell by meeting me, I don't shut down often. I mean, I have days too. There were days that mentally I was like frazzled because I was going through so many doctors and treatments, and it gets crazy. I think the challenge with women is that we're afraid to ask questions. We take doctors on their face value. If a doctor who knows more about medicine than you know tells you this can't be done or that can't be done, and a lot of people are not proactive in their care. You know, the 3 weeks between diagnosis and surgery, I was very active. I was all over the place. If a doctor told me something, I would go double check it. You say, well, that doesn't work for me. And you have to feel comfortable, and you can't be afraid to question somebody in authority. You have to be very, very proactive about your body, and that's with anything. With heart disease, diabetes, anything. Well, when I was diagnosed, there were hardly any endometrial help groups. Now they have help groups, a lot of them. You can put it in and it'll pop up. So I found support by talking to people. I found support by my children and a few of my two good friends. One is no longer with me. And prayer. You know, and there's some really genuine people out in the world. There are really people, you know, I have to say my church family was, and I was really new in that church at the time. They were very supportive. They gave me hope. And my really friends that stuck with me, and my children, they didn't understand what was going on, but they were very supportive. Same reason, because somebody needs to know this. Somebody needs to know that cancer is not a death sentence. Somebody needs to know that you need to go, once your body is speaking to you, you have to realize if I didn't bleed, I would have never known I had cancer. Because my body didn't tell me I had cancer. And then I had fibroids, so when I bled, I thought, okay, fibroids. But thank God my husband thought, and I thought I was not gonna go home and not follow up. So when you have a story or a testimony and you tell somebody else, it helps them. And they think, okay, so this is not really weird. It's part of life. You know, I'm not the only person in the world that's going through this. So it's a give back. That it's okay to be afraid. It's okay to tell your story. It's okay to encourage somebody. And even when you don't think you can do something, you can. And life is on the other side of fear. When you get over the fear of writing a book because you can't spell, or the fear of telling your story when people tell you to shut up, or to tell your story when people don't understand you, or to tell your story when people think you're bragging, or to tell your story without worrying about what other people think, you've overcome. Seek all the support you can. Seek all the knowledge you can. Get a couple of opinions. Take time out to breathe and meditate. Don't panic. And don't be afraid to hear truth. Don't be afraid to hear that you do have it. You know, it's going to grow. When your body changes or you feel something, go as soon as you can. And don't let people put you off. Don't let people say, oh, well, I'll see you. This is April. Don't let somebody say, I'll see you in June. Go immediately. You know, I know we're just coming out of a pandemic and it's hard, but self-care is not selfish. You have to take care of yourself. You have to see the changes in your body. And don't be afraid. And reach out. Reach out. There are great organizations out here. It's time to spot the signs. Spot her for EC.